Big Mom's true form, all the souls return. Hi everyone, Flying Panda. Big shocks, big reveals, and of course Big Mom. It's surprising to find out Big Mom was once an overly caring child, one that was always misunderstood and at times feared. Due to her size and being born a human, it's natural for people to fear what they don't understand. But despite all that, Lin seems to maintain her innocence, so how did she turn out to be a person she is today? Well, as it's been suggested, and the likely evidence shows that young Lin ate her adopted siblings and adopted mother Caramel. Now let's explore the basis of Mother Caramel and her nickname, Mountain Witch, yet another Disney connection with the old film Escape to Witch Mountain, or its recent remake titled Race to Witch Mountain. The film is about two young twins who share powers that connect together, making the two formidable. They learn that they are actually not of this world, and in order to reunite with their people, they must get to Witch Mountain. Interestingly enough, we had seen some foreshadowing for this for some time now, and it all started with the cover pages of SANJI as a UFO. SANJI and his siblings are not twins but rather quadruplets. What they do share is abnormal abilities, and much like alien abductions have been experimented on. As we know, Big Mom wants the germinal technology to help her create the family she always wanted. But how does Mother Caramel come into all this? Well, revealing her dark nature and her true face has opened up our eyes to the dark nature of this arc and just how twisted Big Mom's story really is. Now her nickname could just be because she wasn't born in the mountain area, or perhaps the nunnery she lived in a mountain range, but I think it's most likely to do with her powers, the So-So fruit. This was quite possible the biggest shock of all, for me anyway, to learn Mother Caramel was the original user of the So-So fruit, but things now make sense as her power would have earned her the title of Mountain Witch long before Big Mom has fully revealed to us many theorists that Big Mom had the Witch-Tail fruit. It was highly popular given her theme. Now given the fact that she doesn't have the Witch-Tail fruit doesn't mean it was completely wrong, as the So-So fruit is probably the closest to a witch power as we can get. Witches throughout history have been branded with all the manners of crimes and portrayed in stories as child eaters, but something that most forget is that witches live for long periods of time, that is when they are not burned at the stake. The stories go that witches steal the life sources of their victims, their lifespan, to maintain their youth and live for hundreds of years, much like the film Hocus Pocus. Again, yet another Disney film. Now it's said that So-So fruit doesn't allow the user to place the soul of victim in the user's own body, hence not being able to lengthen one's own life. But there is a way to cheat this. Even though the raw soul cannot be placed within the user can place the soul within food sources, thus creating a loophole. We have seen food that is alive thanks to the power of the So-So fruit and can be consumed by whoever wishes to eat it. Now, to a normal person, this is probably just abnormal and weird, but the embodied soul won't have any effect on the person who eats it. So what is the purpose of eating a soul-based food source? Well, as I mentioned, witches steal the souls of their victims in order to gain longer and more youthful lives, but in some cultures, witches have been said to eat the souls of humans, and in this case, it's called soul food. Before we move on to the reason for the soul food, let's agree on one thing. Young Lin did eat her siblings and Mother Caramel. In Big Mom's rampages, she loses all control and awareness. She forgets who she's killed or what she's even done. Her first case of this illness was due to starvation, and after many days without food, her mind could only remember the sweetest taste of the best desserts she had ever tasted. Now due to the starvation, this created this illness, but in the long-term effect are due to the cravings she experienced. She isn't aware of this, but between the cravings for the sweets and the time she eats them, she has no awareness. It is at this point a deep inner greedy nature takes over. But in that scene, when everyone has vanished, was it really the real scene, or was it what she was told? It's what Big Mom remembers of that day. But what if this is the scene she envisions each and every time she loses control? That is to say, is her own mental image of a perfect day with the people she most deeply cares for and with her favorite food. This could be her own mental image she retreats to whenever she loses control. If this is the case, then it means that the vision is half true, half false. By this I mean she was once happy with everyone in her eyes, but the same couldn't be said for everyone else, so she imagines everyone leaving without a trace for mysterious reasons. But the truth might just be a bit darker. On that fateful day, I believe Mara Caramel had every intention of doing away with every one of them after she was planning on selling all the children to the world government. But what if the children learned of this? If they thought of a way to get their own back on that demon that was only pretending to care for them? As I mentioned, witches in stories would eat children, but what if the reverse was to happen? I believed maybe the children fed Mara Caramel to Lin when she was consumed by the bliss of her favorite food. It wasn't Lin's intentions to eat anyone, but lost in the joy of eating something so yummy she couldn't tell apart what was what. In that scene, there is little to no suggestion that the children were eaten, only Mara Caramel's clothes were left on the ground, torn and ragged. If the children were unfortunately eaten too, they could have only been eaten whole. If you notice that the children were feeding Lin, it was in that panel that I had a mental image of Hansel and Gretel pushing the witch into the oven, which is what I believe happened to Mara Caramel. The biggest reason to believe that Mara Caramel was eaten is due to Big Mom having the soul fruit. She could have only have gained it if Mara Caramel was dead, or in this case was eaten by Lin, which is probably the most interesting part of the chapter, gaining the devil fruit power by consuming the devil fruit user. Gruesome, yet effective. This leads us back to the soul food. Who gains from this? If a normal person has little to gain from eating food with souls, then surely the only being that gains from it is a soul. Mara Caramel's soul lives on within Big Mom. She at the time of being consumed must have decided to split her soul from her body and fuse it with the only living body around her, Lin. From within Lin's body, Mara Caramel has been growing stronger and stronger, consuming souls with the aid of the soul fruit to possibly one day be reborn, or to say she hasn't already. Big Mom has given birth to a number of children, almost all of them whom seem to be quite cruel and share some similar qualities Mara Caramel. Is it possible a piece of her soul was placed in each child? One thing that does confirm that Mara Caramel's soul does still exist is the homie Prometheus. Prometheus was created by Mara Caramel and named Pandora back on Elbaf. As we saw, Mara Caramel used her own soul to create Pandora, and with it still existing suggests that how Mara Caramel still lives on. Interesting enough, Prometheus, Pandora and Zeus are all connected. The story of Pandora is Pandora was made into the first woman by Prometheus out of clay. Zeus then breathed life into the clay model of the woman and thus gave her life. Being the first woman in existence, the god decided to give Pandora with a jar, more commonly known as a box, and inside the jar was all the things of the world. Pandora, who gave into temptation and curiosity, opened the jar and let out all the evils of the world, only sealing in it in time to trap hope. The picture of Mara Caramel is Big Mom's Pandora's box. Since it has been broken, all hope for Big Mom has been lost, but could this have been the way to release Mara Caramel all along? I believe what we will witness in the coming chapters will be a divide in Big Mom between her old self, which is in the form of Zeus, and the side that harpers the evil that has been set by Mara Caramel in the form of Prometheus. The two homies will start to fight for control over Big Mom's very body and soul. But what will be the outcome? Thanks for watching the video. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. This theory was written by Legendary Anime. Please click like, and if you haven't, please subscribe. Flying Panda.